So this is our Hey guys, so this is our Batman v Superman conversation. I'm Caden Hollander. Joining me
is Magnus Fulton, and we're going to talk about this movie. Actually, no, because it doesn't count as a movie. Am I right, guys?
Yes, you're completely right. All right, so
Well, okay.
we're just gonna give our thoughts on the movie, talk about it for a portion of time. Yeah, just let's talk about it.
Yeah.
And
So
by the
here's
way,
the thing.
heavy spoiler. So if you haven't seen it, tune out
Yeah,
because
because you can't talk about this movie without spoiling everything, even though the trailers kind of already did that. But overall, Caden, what would you say overall the consensus of this movie is from everybody in the world?
Overall, I would say the consensus is what I agree with, is that the movie had fantastic visuals and was really, really nicely done, with the exception of the fact that the story made no sense. There were multiple plot holes in the story. There was no motivation for any of the characters. And very honestly, I thought that anything that wasn't visually striking was pretty much crap. And there was not a lot of good stuff in the film. There were some good moments and there were some good characters. But on the overall, like, just a lot of the motivations and a lot of the things people did in the film weren't explained in logic.
Yeah. So here's the thing. What I've heard a lot of people say is, if you loved Man of Steel, you'll probably love this movie. And the funny thing is, yeah, I rewatched Man of Steel recently, and I loved it.
Me
but
too.
I really didn't like. Well, here's the thing with this movie. This is one of those movies where I was enjoying myself. Throughout the entire thing, I was having a good time. Like, nothing jumped out at me while I was watching it and made me go, "This is garbage." And honestly, when I came out of the movie, I was happy. But it's like, you got to think about it for at least 2 days. And then you just kind of find out that it's a bit of a, what's the word? I don't want to say the movie's a mess, because I feel like the studio, it wasn't like Amazing Spider-Man 2, in my opinion.
I would say I would actually was a mess, and I think it's a major mess. And here's why I think it's a major mess: because the story made no sense.
Yeah, well, I mean, a mess in the sense that
I was just like, "What the frick? Like, what are they even doing at this point?"
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Can we just say off the bat, the movie doesn't need to be called Batman v Superman, because that is such a small part of the movie. Yeah, because the thing is, it's such a small part of the movie. And it's the thing that I noticed is that, like, a third of the way through, I forgot that Batman and Superman were going to fight. That was the thing. I forgot that a fight was going to happen. And they really convoluted why Batman and Superman are going to fight, which it could have easily been Batman's angry because Superman's flying through buildings. And then they tried to do something with Superman disliking Batman. But then then I feel like they faked out of it.
It didn't work. It was like, oh, that guy's kind of weird. It wasn't like there was actual genuine dislike of him.
No, that wasn't. And I feel like it wasn't even really Batman v Superman, because Superman didn't want to fight Batman. That was the thing. That really kind of, because it's like, then it wasn't really like a battle of odds. Not to mention, so
everybody he was trying to get the words out, Martha, Martha, Martha. We have, whatever.
Yeah. Here's the thing.
It wasn't like they were fighting. It was like Batman was, going after him, and Superman was just kind of like a little dog saying, "Wait, wait, wait."
Yeah. Like everybody's saying, from what I've heard, okay, the path is rocky.
No. What?
The path is rocky getting to the fight, but once the fight gets there, it is awesome. And I would say that I thought the fight was pretty lame. And am I the only one who thinks that? Like,
the fight went on for a few minutes because they weren't actually. It'd be cool if they were punching blow for blow, almost like Creed fighting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's like really cool, like fighting, but instead they're just like, oh, punch, punch, gas, punch, punch, gas. It was like,
yeah, like I feel like, yeah, I don't know, because the fight, like, they advertised it in the trailer. Like, in the trailer, they cut it together to make you feel like they're going through buildings. It's gonna be like the Superman and Zod fight, but it wasn't. They just punched each other a couple times in a building, and then it was done. Also, why didn't Batman just have the kryptonite sword with him the whole time? Yeah. Like, yeah, honestly, if he really wanted to kill Superman, he could have easily just had it on his back or something in his belt, shut the gas, then when Superman's, like, all messed up, just stab him. Like,
it's actually really, it makes no sense. Another thing that I don't think made much sense is, so cool. The epiphany of the whole movie is that their moms have the same name. I mean, this is what Batman v Superman. The entire thing comes down to a cripple and moms having the same name. Literally, he's about to kill him. It's just like Martha, and literally, this is what happens. Like Martha, he's like, wait, Martha. That's my mom's name. And Superman's well, that's my mom's name. And they're like, oh my gosh, our moms have the same name.
Yeah.
We're friends now. It's like, what the frick?
See, that's the thing. Out of everything in the movie, that was like the final thing on my list. Like, even in the movie theater, I wasn't like, oh, that's stupid. I honestly bought it. I think more so because Amy Adams was there for some reason. She just turned up. She poofed out of thin air.
Yeah, and
she
like,
was there. I think it was more the realization.
His like kryptonite armor, and then he switches out, and you never actually see him and go into the new thing. Like he jumped into the ship, and then when he's in the ship, suddenly he's in a new armor. It's like
yeah, I know. It was so random because you completely forgot that Batman wanted to fight Superman. Like halfway through the movie, Batman's like, "Oh yeah, all the stuff I've been doing."
Like, oh yeah, wait, our mom says isn't the best idea.
Yeah, and because halfway through the movie, you find out that everything Batman's been doing has been trying to kill Superman, but they just don't reiterate that point. And it was just a bit like, so when the fight happened, it wasn't even that big of a thing because the build-up had been so.
Basically, it's like Lex Luthor's motivation never stated. They could have had one. They could have fixed this with one line of dialogue.
Yeah, that's true. And also,
they didn't though. Crazy old dude for him.
Okay, let's just talk about Lex Luthor. I just want to hear, what did you think of him?
I mean, I wasn't really a fan. I mean, he was kind of weird.
See, I didn't mind it. Like, everyone wants the Bryan Cranston Lex Luthor, and honestly, they can easily fix it. They can easily have Bryan Cranston just say, oh, I was in jail, and now I'm back, and I'll just take my son's place, or whatever. But
he wasn't the same. He was legit like Lex Luthor. And I think the problem is, like, Jesse Eisenberg, I mean, he wasn't Lex Luthor. He had no charisma. He was like, I mean, at least he went for something different. I mean, commended for that. But it was just like...
Like, he went for it. Honestly, every time he was on the screen, I was having the best time that I had throughout the movie. I think that's why I enjoyed him the most. And also, he was genuinely frightening, I felt. Like, more than a few...
Certain scenes, but, like, also, like, stuff didn't make sense. Like, he shaves his head at the very end. Like, oh, yeah, that's fan service. But when you go to jail... You don't get your head shaved.
Yeah, I mean...
That made no sense. They never showed him getting arrested. Like,
I thought it was going to be from, like, kryptonite poisoning.
The whole dark side thing, which didn't make any sense. At least they showed him getting arrested because it showed him in the thing. Because, like, how would anybody actually be able to tie Lex Luthor to it?
Yeah. Well, no. Okay, they released it.
Chances are Lex Luthor has some great lawyers. He'd go to trial and he'd convince them all he had nothing to do with it. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, here's the thing.
Anything to do with it.
Did you see the deleted scene? They released a deleted scene. So that's how they.
It's obvious, but like they didn't put the deleted scene in the movies.
Yeah, I know. So here's the funny thing. So we before this movie came out, we were always talking about how this is it for Warner Brothers, like DC.
Yeah.
Now it looks like it's Suicide Squad, but this is it. If this fails, it's all going downhill. And the movie's making money, and it definitely is people talking, which I guess for them is kind of a win. But you can just tell how desperate they are. Like the 5 days after the movie was released, so much stuff was coming out. Like Zack Snyder was like, "Oh, here, this and this and this. This is why I did this." And Warner Brothers was releasing all these deleted scenes and revealing.
First cut of this movie because it was obviously a movie decided by committee. And I was talking about this with my dad. My dad used to be a filmmaker. At least what he said is like when you start deciding movies by committee, you get movies like this where it's totally inconsistent, nothing makes sense, and it's just like we need to have logos and all these teases in there that doesn't actually have anything to do with the movie. That was my problem with Avengers: Age of Ultron, and it is even more of a problem, more prevalent here. As a cinema lover, I love movies that are stories that have a beginning, a middle, and an end. You know what I mean? This movie has no beginning. It has a beginning. It has an end. It has no resolution. There's nothing happens as a point through this movie. Batman and Superman are friends at the end. That's the one influence. That is the
so
one
here's the thing.
Status quo. No other changes.
Yeah, here's the thing. I feel like it's really hard for someone to hate Age of Ultron after seeing this movie. Just knowing it's like, Because at least Age of Ultron, it had a story. It had like an overall story. This movie, it was just it was like the problem with this movie. Like even in the Amazing Spider-Man 2, the main plot was Spider-Man versus Electro and the Green Goblin. Like that was the main arc. In this movie, the Batman and Superman arc is as important as any other subplot in the movie.
Side plot to a big siege. I mean, everything's in this movie. I mean, let's just do a basic rundown of this movie. The whole first act of this movie revolves around this random cripple and a Senate meeting. Okay,
honestly,
Batman v Superman, and why is Batman living in a glass box? Really don't get it either. But so all this stuff, right? And then and then whatever they fight, and then the whole big finale of this movie was them fighting a big CGI monster. There's a nuclear bomb going off.
Yeah, can we just speak about that? So Lex Luthor and Doomsday. So Doomsday. Okay, the only reason I feel overall that battle won me over, I think that was because of Wonder Woman. And overall, when Wonder Woman and Superman and Batman were all teaming up, that was fun. Like, that was actually good. Like we were saying.
Really cool. I would agree. But the thing is, they didn't know how to handle the battle. That's the problem. Like, they had one going up against the other time, and people were trying to do stuff. And, like, the whole Superman Lois Lane thing was so poorly handled.
Yeah, that was awful.
Why couldn't Superman call over Wonder Woman and say, "Hey, Wonder Woman, can you come over here, take the kryptonite sword and stab him?" She'd be like, "Sick, bro," and then she would have done it.
Yeah, because they wanted the death of Superman. I get it. Like in that there it's so easy to pick on those plot holes, but there are like actual real problems with this movie. For example, Doomsday, it was like they just put every things that were just happening, and it looked like there was no real consequence for them. Like an explosion would go off. And it would just be like everybody's fine. Wonder Woman shields him a bit, but it was just so constant, and there were just so many filters on Doom. It was
I think my dad pointing this out. I didn't have as much of a problem with it, but it felt very gloomy. There was nothing fun about this movie. I didn't have any fun watching Batman v Superman, and I felt like that's something I should have fun. It's a big popcorn action movie flick. I felt here's
the thing.
The first half of the movie, too, was so slow. And that was the part that was supposed to be more filmmaker-oriented and well-made. And, some people praised it. I thought it was so slow. There was no fighting. I'm just like...
Yeah, no, well, here's how I saw it. When I was watching the movie, I think what masked the fact and made it look better than it was while I was watching, because when I came out the movie, I'm like, that was pretty good. What masked it is I feel there were enough decent bits in between kind of spread out. There were enough decent bits spread out that overall, that was what... Oh, yeah, that first bit was good. I really enjoyed the first action sequence, Bruce Wayne going through the city. Yes, that was so excited.
My favorite scene of the whole movie. After, the opening credits, the origin story I thought was brilliant. The way they shot that I thought was great. It was so visually striking. Yeah. And then right after that, the Bruce Wayne Metropolis thing, I thought it conveyed that point so well without overdoing it, whatever.
It was that was actual they were telling a story and they started the story and it was perfect. And I really also everyone's been saying that Superman is barely in the movie, and I personally think he got his piece of the pie enough. I thought this was
take advantage of it. Henry Cavill, that one bathtub scene, regardless of how awesome Amy Adams looked, it was phoning it in acting. I came home. I'm like, hey, I'm home. It's okay. I'm home. It was just
I like that. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed that scene because, it humanized Superman. I liked seeing how he was living with Lois Lane, and he was like, I don't care what they're saying, It just showed how he really didn't care. And I thought that was really cool to seeing.
And what's going on with freaking Africa?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but I just was... I was invested at that point. And I really enjoyed, Mr. Paralyzed Man who got his legs chopped off, going up, spray painting full Scott across.
That was a cool scene.
Yeah,
the fact that
when they were striking.
It's
But then you'll have a 20-minute sequence of Batman trying to decode something for the Justice League that didn't need to be in this movie. And also, what also takes you out of it is the fact that you don't know what's going on. Batman's doing this thing in LexCorp, and you don't know what he's trying to do. And it takes you out of it because overall the payoff is, I wanted to get all these logos and Easter eggs of the Justice League that I don't know about yet.
That dream sequence. Let's talk about that dream sequence for a second. That dream
first off,
is that Superman would eventually be a force for evil, right? And so that's his vision. He could have done that. 5 seconds with him being tied up, Superman spraying wildly, and then taking his mask off. and we didn't need the 900 years of action. And there was no stakes because everyone knew it was a dream, and they had no substance to the plot. I'm literally like, I'm watching something to expand the runtime.
Yeah, it's so random as well. It's like they said, like Zack Snyder, he said, oh, okay, this movie, they're on the table, they're writing the script. He's like, I want a cool sequence where it's like, you know, a foreshadowing to the future. Batman is like a nightmare realm, and Batman is in like a cool suit breaking necks. Superman takes his mask, it's going to be super cool. And then he just thinks about the scene, and he doesn't know where to put it. And it was just so random and out of place. And they have two back-to-back. They have that, and then they have, I believe it was The Flash, coming to tell Batman all about, you know, Lois Lane and stuff.
And
but it's just like,
I mean, I could barely even tell it was the Flash, and I couldn't understand what he was saying.
Yeah.
So, look, fact is, I want to make a cut of the movie with you of like making it like, you know, of the footage that they have. I don't even know if you can make a good cut because there's nothing to support anything.
That's what I was saying. Like everything, it was like everything in the movie. It was like every scene kind of subtly like tied into every scene, almost like tied into every subplot, like, you know, kind of, but not really. And there isn't enough meat for each subplot for there to be like a full, you know, cohesive movie. And like, it doesn't make any sense.
I mean, and there's also like little plot holes things. Like, for example, like Bruce Wayne, like little scenes, like, and you, like, I was just like, it was like a tick. It was going off all the time. Bruce Wayne, he wakes up in the bed with this random girl. They never established who the girl is. They never established that, like, he took her home from a party. That could have been an interesting scene, like Bruce Wayne wooing, you know what I mean? Then, like, you know, he's talking with Alfred about confidential information. I'm like, is the girl still in the bed? Because if she's still in the house, it's probably not good to be talking about confidential information with some random babe there, you know what I mean? They never like, you know, Bruce Wayne, the womanizer, and, like, I get that. That's what they're trying to say. But, like, they never actually develop it enough. They, like, give subtle hints, but they don't actually hint. They're like, oh, yeah. And, like, for anyone who's not a comic book fan, like, I got that. I saw it with my dad. He had no clue. He's like, what's up?
Yeah. No, yeah, honestly, this was definitely a movie that I feel like a hardcore DC fan would enjoy.
Right, because
they just fill in all like
if you don't know anything about Batman, the Batman Superman comics or whatever, it's inaccessible to you. That's the problem. It's just inaccessible.
Yeah, and also it's like, for example, it's just inaccessible to people who haven't seen Man of Steel. The scene when he goes onto like the mountain and talks to his dead dad, who is dead, and they don't mention if it's a memory or a flashback or him in heaven or something. They never mention it.
Like, no sense, and then also like the whole opening for Man of Steel. Man of Steel was on TV, so like I watched that scene like the day before. You know, you know, if I hadn't watched that scene the day before, I'd be kind of vaguely remembering, but I still have like no idea what was going on. So like, you know, that is in order to fully enjoy this movie, you need to have basically been like done your research on DC Comics and have watched Man of Steel relatively close to the time you're watching the movie. Because I mean, it's just like otherwise it's just inaccessible.
I mean, here's the thing. Man of Steel shows, like, I know most people didn't like it, but Man of Steel was a story. It was about a character, and it told a story about a character.
I actually enjoyed it. There were tonal issues with the film, but it was like it was a legit cool movie, and it had a beginning, a middle, and an end at least. And
yeah, it was good, and it told a story. Like, the first, like, third of that movie was really good. And I think that's what they were going for with this movie, but they didn't do it. And here's the thing. Everyone, like, you're either disappointed or you're like, that was okay. And ever since they announced, you know, Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman and we're going to have Lex Luthor in the movie, I always kind of knew. I never expected this movie to be great. Can I just say that? I never expected.
I know what you're saying. I still had like a hope in the back of my head that it would like shine. And after the opening sequence too, when I was in the theater and I saw the 29% on Rotten Tomatoes, whatever. So like I go into the theater, I'm like, I better not expect much. But you know, I go into the theater, I see that opening sequence, I'm like, wow, this is incredible. And I see the opening in Metropolis, I'm like, wow, that's incredible. I'm like, oh my gosh, this movie is going to be amazing. I was like, this is an A+. I mean, the first 5 minutes are like amazing. They're like gold star, top cinema ever material, and then after that, it just kerplunks.
Yeah, and even then, the opening shot of like Bruce Wayne's dead, so much skin, and it was so like over the top, banging your head over with metaphors that I was like, I don't know. And then it gets me back on track with the whole city destruction part, and then it just kind of the thing about this movie, you can't explain a certain point where it just started going downhill. It's like it's just a chain of events. It's just like subtly, it just goes down. And I think
off to Mexico for no reason to save some random factory worker. It's like, oh, how did he get to Mexico? The thing,
and also we talk about that scene.
Literally, the whole thing, how they're like, oh, Africa proves that Superman's evil. How about you just say Metropolis proves that Superman's evil, and you don't need a shoe-in 10-minute sequence in Africa that no one gives a frick about. Like,
yeah, and also, so here's the thing. Superman and Batman, they obviously kill people in this movie. And did that bother you? Because everyone is like...
It didn't bother me, whatever. Like, at least they didn't physically show him killing people, but it was like...
He kills people. It's like...
It didn't make sense with the character. It didn't make sense with what his character was and what Batman is. I mean, it was just distrustful of the character, and that kind of pissed me off.
Yeah, I personally even more the fact that the whole point of this movie is essentially, oh, we didn't kill... Okay, we understand he killed people in Man of Steel, but this whole movie's going to make up for that with, oh, Superman's dangerous. But they still kill people in this movie. Like, at the beginning, when Superman takes a guy... Lois Lane puts her hands up, and Superman takes a guy and puts him through like 3 walls. That guy is dead. There is no way that guy is not dead if you shove him through.
And like the thing is, like, people hadn't figured out that, like, oh, Superman happens to consistently save this particular one reporter. Maybe he's dating that one reporter.
Yeah.
He also happens to be living with Clark Kent. Maybe Clark Kent's Superman, or maybe she's cheating on Clark Kent. Like, nobody figured that out. Like, Lawrence Fishburne, he was hilarious in the movie. Maybe he could have figured that out. You know what I mean? That could have been cool. That could have been a cool stuff in a movie like Lawrence Fishburne. Wait a second,
Yeah. Like, can we just agree that everybody would have loved this movie a lot more if we didn't have 3 years of build-up towards this movie and 3 years of...
love the movie. I think people would be less hateful of it. I think there would be less hate.
Yeah, but honestly, if
crushing disappointment.
Overall, but if I just imagine if I didn't know anything and they just said they pulled a 10 Cloverfield Lane and they're like, oh look, here's a trailer for this movie, and they only show Batman and Superman like staring at each other or something, then we all go see it. I feel like it would have been the more surprises for people. Like, I think it would have had a lot more praise.
At least Doomsday would have been a surprise. It wouldn't have been like, oh yeah,
well,
I mean that one trailer told the entire movie.
Not to mention, Lex Luthor didn't think out that plan at all. So his plan was basically, okay, this guy's going to kill Superman, but then what? He has no way to stop him otherwise. Is he just going to destroy the entire world?
He, like, gets Batman to go after Superman, but he's like, oh, wait, then I have this guy. And I'm like, well, Doomsday's better than Batman. Why not just have Doomsday go after Superman in the first place?
Yeah, so was he suspecting?
And that would be a much better plan. Have Doomsday go after Superman, kill Superman, and worst case scenario, he has to use Batman. You know what I mean? But, like, Doomsday is a much more effective person. Once Doomsday doesn't work, then you can be like, oh, okay, I need to use Batman, use my last shot. But still, the way it made Batman look like a stupid idiot. Like, he was also got manipulated.
Can we just talk about that? I didn't exactly like that. Like, in a way, it was kind of cool, but I didn't like how Lex Luthor basically pulled the strings on every event. Yeah. Like, there was no point for him to blow up the Senate room, even though that was a really good scene. That was probably one of the best scenes in the movie. There was no reason for him to do that because everybody knows that Superman doesn't just create bombs. He has laser vision. That's pretty much it. So why didn't he create, like, lasers in the wheelchair?
Superman is just standing there in the middle of the fire. Like, does fire affect him too as well? Like,
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It doesn't because he's invincible. But I like that scene because it's just
collapsed on his face. Like, you'd think he might want to get out rather than, like, just stand there like,
yeah.
These people
but the whole point.
It's like, he did it. So.
Yeah, I know, like, it was a cool scene, but what was the point of it? The whole point of the scene was it's like, I'm guessing Lex Luthor wanted to frame Superman, but everybody finds out, oh no, it was this guy in the wheelchair. So what's the point? Then Superman flies away and is sad for a minute. And
why the guy in the wheelchair, like, he's pissed off at Superman, I get it, but, like, why would he want to, like, kill him? Why not just hear him out? You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't make any rational sense, Yeah.
And also, it's just... Yeah, can we just quickly talk about the Justice League for a minute?
I mean, the teases themselves looked cool, but the way in which they did it was the worst possible way ever.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. She opens up a freaking email. Why would Bruce Wayne even send her the email with that confidential information? You know what I mean? There's a random woman I don't know. Oh, here's a lot of stuff. They never mention that. You remember? Did you watch the movie fights where Max Landis pitched a version of Batman v Superman?
No, I didn't.
Anyway, he did. It's on their thing, and like the greatest pitch, right? Couldn't have been any better. And I swear, if they would have made that movie, it would have a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it would be like universally beloved, and it would have shoehorned in everything that they needed to shoehorn in. And I would ask people to look that up because I think it is of much more value than this piece of crap that we got.
See, I don't think the movie is terrible. The movie, like, I definitely want to see it again. I don't know yet. Honestly, I really want to do.
So slow, like I couldn't sit through it again. Like,
see, I really want to. I think that's a great idea.
So slow. I was like pulling my brains out just watching it the first time. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, see, we really need to do. I really, really want to do a commentary track with you where we just watch the movie and record ourselves. Like, I think that.
I would be like laughing the entire time.
Yeah. And then we were able to like talk about like just see it again because there are definitely parts that are really good. Like name some of the things that you liked.
Some of the things I liked. I thought Ben Affleck was serviceable. I didn't think he was great. I thought he was good. Her character was horrifically developed, but she did a really, really good job. I thought that the visuals were fantastic. The cinematography was great. The effects were fantastic, with the exception of Doomsday. And I thought the scope was. I thought the opening scene was fantastic. I thought the first 10 minutes were great.
Yeah. See, here's the thing. I think this movie gave DC a lot of good toys. Like, it gave a good Batman. It gave you a pretty good Superman, a great Wonder Woman.
Batman, and it got Kryptonite Batman and other Batman. Problem is that people who are playing with the toys can't see the movie because it's so dark.
Yeah, I know, but the thing with apart from Lex Luthor, for some people, I love him. But everything, all the performances in this movie are pretty good. So I feel like if you can just take all these characters and put them into a movie that can be great. It's not like they've ruined the characters too. Like they've
right, but like Frank Irons is Alfred. Everyone's saying he's great.
Yeah.
He's okay. He's not a butler. He's like a tinkerer compared to Michael Caine's Alfred.
But that's like a different Alfred.
Nothing compared to Michael Caine's Alfred. Like, you just keep comparing these people to who everyone else has played these roles, and I mean they just don't add up.
Yeah, I mean they're different interpretations. Like I thought Ben Affleck was
interpretation. Like it isn't correct. He's not a butler in this one. He's like he's a butler, but he isn't a butler. He's a butler.
And also, can we just talk about like the Easter eggs as well? Like the Robin suit. What annoys me is they show that Robin suit in the trailer, and they don't give any.
There was no point. They didn't even cut on it like long enough to see it. They don't give any read the text. They
don't give any information in the movie, like further information that we didn't already know, and that is like movie trailer failure 101. Like putting an Easter egg, it's in the trailer, and we all interpret it as, oh, we're gonna find out more in the movie, but that's it. And that was like, it was a small thing, but it just kind of annoyed me when they don't talk about it. I'm like.
Maybe like people talk about after credit scenes, like maybe have something with the Joker.
Yeah, I know. They don't reference the Joker or anything.
Like maybe the Joker is saying, "I've got Robin. I'm coming for you, Batman," or something creepy like that, or something to develop that situation more and introduce the Joker before Suicide Squad. I mean, like now I'm psyched for Suicide Squad. I guess they're adding more humor into it, and it looks like they're listening to complaints about Batman v Superman. That's good, Hopefully, Suicide Squad will have David Ayer. Yeah, is a much better director than Zack Snyder. Hopefully, it'll have that crazy, insane tone, and it'll be a better movie. That's my hope.
And here's the thing. Here's the thing that I'm just gonna point out right now. Marvel, say what you will about them. Overall, they have a plan. You can tell they have a plan. They don't blow their load with every movie. Every movie, it's a building block into like either the Avengers or just the future. This movie, they really don't think things through. It was like, Zack Snyder, do what you want. Like, what have they already wasted in this movie?
Well, but not really, because the studio has, 900 other things that need to go in the movie as well. Like, the fact is, Lex Luthor's conducting, like, Ares or Darkseid or something in that deleted scene clip, and, like, at least it added more depth as to, like, Lex Luthor getting arrested.
Here's the thing.
That made no sense.
One example that I heard from the podcast, The Weekly Planet, which is really good, check it out. But one, like for example, Clark Kent. They say he died while reporting because Superman's dead, so he can't be there. Obviously, Superman's gonna return because of the dirt rising on his coffin at the end.
And that was BS. It's like it would be very gutsy if they killed off Superman. I knew there had to be something because they.
You know he's gonna come back anyway. But I think it would have been cool.
This huge big deal about Superman, and they could have done a really, really cool thing about it. It was remembered after death, and everyone's remembered after death as being really great, but are hated during their lifetime. and then he comes back, and it's just like all that development was for nothing.
Yeah, or especially because they have like that Lord of the Rings ending where it just keeps ending and ending and ending. You're like, come on, just end already. And there was just so much funeral stuff. Like, wouldn't it be cool if the Justice League movie is them all going into the Nightmare Realm to face Darkseid and like bring back Superman, like almost like Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. Like they have to go like to
like,
underworld.
Resurrect Superman in the movie. They're like, there's one way we can beat him. We have to resurrect Superman.
Yeah, like it would make sense.
Cool.
And also the thing is, the whole point of that nightmare sequence, the dream sequence, is the fact that it's a world where Superman has gone bad because Lois Lane is dead or whatever, something like that. And the whole point is, at the end, Batman's like, oh, we need to bring the Justice League together. We need to fight. And Wonder Woman asks why, and he says, I have a feeling. But the whole point of the feeling is that Superman goes bad. That's the scenario.
Right.
But Superman is dead. So it's either he knows Superman's still alive. Like, otherwise, why does he want to form the Justice League? There's no point. So it's just they don't think things through. As well, like what I was saying about Clark Kent, they can't bring Clark Kent back. Like, how are they going to explain that? So now Superman's alter ego is gone.
Also for that Robin thing, I was thinking back to that too. Jenna Malone was supposed to be in the movie. Maybe she would have played Carrie Kelly, and that would have provided more depth to that.
She's going to be in the R-rated cut. I think she's in the R-rated cut. I think they said that.
Maybe that would have provided more depth to that situation. But like, yeah, just in terms, it was just the part of the film not being thought through. A lot seemed cut out, and a lot seemed changed in post. I mean, it was a very loosely tied together movie. I mean, that felt like a first cut of a movie. It felt very sloppy.
Well, here's the thing. They say
could look at that movie and be like, yeah, I think that's ready for release. Like, there's nothing we can fix. No, I don't think so. Like,
no, they said the original the original 3-hour cut of the movie got a standing ovation. Then again,
every movie gets a standing ovation.
Yeah, I know. I mean, but the thing is,
got a standing ovation from my parents. Not really, but like.
Yeah, I know. But like when this.
Can you let me in, please?
No, I'm
locked out.
I'm live. Go ask Mom.
I can't on my phone.
I'll text her right now.
Great.
Sorry about that.
Hey, drama on set. Anyway,
Husband.
Emma, how about I'm live, so I'm texting her right now. Yeah, okay.
Okay. Where was I? Justice League. Crap. That's all I have to say.
I mean, it's just like I'd give it a C- or a D+ in the like.
I'd give it a C, like a very weak C. I almost want to go C-, but the movie is just. There are more than a few good moments in it. Like, I love Batman taking out the room of thugs. That was definitive. That was probably the best Batman action scene I think we've ever seen.
I would disagree. I think anything in the Christopher Nolan series beats that.
Really? No, see, Christopher Nolan didn't do good action with Batman. Like, other than the Bane fight, the first.
Batman was fantastic. Like, Dark Knight Rises, that fight with Bane was really, really cool. I mean, but I think him in the finale of The Dark Knight even taking out the whole thing. I mean, I thought that was a lot.
Yeah, but this was a Batman. This was like comic book Batman. Like in the Batman Arkham games, this is the guy who was just throwing thugs against the wall.
He's killing people.
I know. And also, here's something someone else pointed out. What is to stop Batman from killing the Joker? Because he was shooting down cars. He was exploding cars, essentially, in that scene.
Exactly.
Yeah, so what is to stop? The whole point of Batman is his rules. He doesn't kill. And, at the first point, you're like, okay, well, it doesn't matter if he killed a few thugs. But now, what happens when the Joker, probably arguably the baddest baddie of them all, is like killing people left and right? What is to keep Batman from saying, I'm just going to throw a grenade into your mouth and just watch you explode?
Right, yeah.
Like, there's nothing. They can't do anything now. So it's just, they didn't think ahead.
Yeah, I mean,
and
it was so sloppily put together. I mean, I could see this as a first cut. I could see this as a first cut and people saying, look, okay, let's go back and let's do reshoots and fix a few problems with the movie. Because I feel like it was a solid first cut of a movie. But I feel like it's not a final cut.
No, not even then though, because you look at the first cut and say the whole point of a first cut is, okay, well, we'll take this out and this out and this out and this out. So, and they just kept it in. Like, they could have easily taken out.
The whole dream sequence could have been, I mean, there's so much that could have been just taken out. And you could have even set up future films and you didn't need the freaking logos.
Yeah, you didn't even need the Justice League in this movie. Like, because it's different.
All you needed was Batman stealing the kryptonite, him telling Alfred Superman's a threat. Maybe the Africa scene, the Senate blowing up, everyone thinks Superman's crazy. Lex Luthor saying, I want Superman dead. Then all you need is them fighting. Then Doomsday comes in. Then Wonder Woman's there. Then it's a movie. And it would have been a lot better of a movie. It still would have had flaws.
Like, if the Justice League affected the plot, but they don't affect the plot at all. They're just there.
Yeah.
They're just in an email with the logos, which I can't fathom enough how dumb that is. Okay, I went on a 20-minute rant.
I mean, there was so much of this movie that was just stupid and poorly thought out, poorly done. You know, it was a style over substance.
They literally style over substance. These are top secret files, right? These are top secret files. Barely anyone knows about them.
I mean,
Lex Luthor,
good, but they had no place.
Yeah, and Lex Luthor is just like, oh hey, can we please get what do you think a logo for a woman who's like an Amazonian warrior would be? And she's a woman. Oh, it'll probably be like a W. With another W, we'll make it look cool.
It's like what they did with the Avengers, where like if they're fighting and then people are creating the logos afterwards. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, and here's the thing. What's even more annoying is those are the actual logos of the heroes. But before they've become heroes, essentially. Like, I mean, arguably Wonder Woman was already a hero back in the day.
Footage of Aquaman.
The Flash's logo is literally it's a lightning bolt. And with what are the odds that they just be the same thing? It's just so dumb, and I can't get over it. Like, like, what did you think of the footage? Like, I thought Aquaman looks kind of lame. It looks like he couldn't even breathe underwater.
I didn't mind the footage. I thought all the footage looked fine. It wasn't the footage that I had a problem with. It was the fact that they were there. And the fact that it was Wonder Woman looking at it, not Batman. The fact that he sent the email to her. I mean, it was just complete BS.
I mean, I guess they want to set up. They want to be like, oh, look at these humans. We got to find them, make a Justice League that can help fight Superman when he turns bad.
Batman click on the email.
Yeah,
Batman tries to file up. He sees Wonder Woman's picture. All he has to do is go click, click, click.
Yeah,
and it fits in with the scene, and then we're done. He never has to send Wonder Woman that email like, "I know who you are." You know what I mean? That never had to happen. That had no service to the plot. It was all he had to do was look at the thing and be like, "Oh wow, she's not who she thinks she is. She has something going on." You know, that's all that needed to happen.
Yeah, I mean, they obviously. I always. This is basically what I suspected. This movie overall, it wasn't as good as I thought it could have been, but it wasn't as bad as all my concerns and fears were met. I was like, they're probably just gonna shove in a ton. The thing that works is
Ultron times 900 with the shoving.
Yeah, I mean, Age of Ultron.
No point to the plot. It wasn't a movie. It was a TV episode. I wrote this in an Instagram post. It was a TV episode more interested in setting up and getting you excited about next week's episode than actually like telling a really cool story. And I mean, that's the thing, though. Right now. But the fact is, like, you know, that's not what movies are.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, I like defending Age of Ultron, and I feel like the thing is Marvel was there first. It's their thing. But the thing about Age of Ultron, what makes it work more is those characters are already established. Half of those characters are already established. Batman v Superman is trying to establish Batman, Wonder Woman, like all these, they are the Avengers that have been there forever, as well as the entire other Justice League. So they're just overdoing it, and they
trying to develop Superman further. A lot of these literally, you see, like they're put in there because we need more time with Superman. Scene.
Yeah, they really. It's just it kind of baffles me how. I mean, it doesn't, because I know that they were desperate, and I know that they wanted to get this onto, you know, they just wanted to. They're like, come on, we need to do this. And now, to their credit, they have successfully gotten to an area where they are basically at the level of Marvel. They tried to cram 7 solo movies into one movie. It was sloppy, but at least they're here now. Honestly, I have this on record. I bet I filmed it somewhere where I said Batman v Superman won't be a movie. It's going to be like a series of events that will get DC up to speed. And it just annoys me because it just annoys me because they wasted a ton of good concepts. Like, you can't ever do Batman and Superman really fighting again. Like, other than it seeming overdone.
That's the Superman again. That's a really cool storyline. I mean, you can't do the returns again.
They
Now,
just-
also, they're starting this whole new universe with an older, crippled Batman. Is that the way you really want to start your entire universe? Like, that doesn't seem like a Batman block to me. That seems like an ending point.
I mean, not only that, but a Batman that kills people as well. Like, okay, where do you think they're going to go from here?
Now. That can't be changed. It's like
it can't be.
Star Wars, you know? You can do all you want to avoid it, but it's still going to be there.
I was walking away, and I literally said it would shock me, but I wouldn't be surprised if they ended up rebooting again. I really wouldn't. They just want to get it right. Honestly, they probably won't because they have Wonder Woman in the works and everything.
They have Suicide Squad about them. They've slated their entire list of movies. It would have made it a lot easier for them, though, if this movie was not crap.
If it would have been easier if they said, you know what, we have time. It's not like Marvel just doing other things in their universe isn't going to take away time from ours. Let's just, because they already have Suicide Squad, and what makes Suicide Squad work is it looks like an individual story.
Right, yeah.
Like, at least in
also, the problem with the entire universes is, like, when they have plot holes in these movies, like, you know, for example, you know, anything, right? So they have a plot hole in this movie, and this next movie is supposed to build off the events of this movie, right? So, you know, I don't know, Suicide Squad, is it going to build off the events in this film, or other Justice League, is that going to build off the events in this film? Is it going to build off the fact that, you know, Doomsday, all this stuff happened, and it's like all these teases and stuff that didn't make any sense. And now suddenly you're building off stuff that doesn't make sense, and you have no foundation. And it's like, wait, this didn't make sense. But they're here now, but that couldn't have happened because this never made sense. And so suddenly, because it's a shared universe, you know what I mean? You've taken the ground out under. That's what I was worried about Age of Ultron. There were a few plot holes. There were some plot holes, and it's like, well, that didn't make sense. Does that mean Infinity War is not really? Civil War is going to have a problem, and you know, and they did a good job of making it an individual story. So at least only like Thor Ragnarok could have been affected or whatever. So Civil War seems like it's its own movie, and Infinity War seems like it's its own thing. So that's good. But like with Batman v Superman, I mean, it feels like the Justice League is just going to be a continuation of Batman and Superman. It's going to be a continuation of a movie that didn't work. Hello. Hello. It's me. I was wondering if after all these years of life.
Here's the thing.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm good. Overall, the movie it's still a good movie. Like The Dark Knight is still a good movie. The thing about this is that it's just you see it in front of your eyes. The movie just implodes on itself, and that's just.
It does.
I feel like for people who legitimately went into the theater thinking it was going to be a great movie, are like it's just.
I think I posted this too. Like 2013 Comic-Con. I remember that being announced. I remember the big logo coming up with the bat over the S. I remember being psyched about that. I remember 2014 Comic-Con. I remember with you watching the leaked trailer. I remember being at the convention center when they were presenting that, and us checking our phone for update, or your phone, because my phone, but checking our phone for updates. I remember getting the announcement that it might be 2 movies and being totally psyched that I get one early. I mean, I remember all of it. I remember the first trailer and like, you know, the first.
It was not worth it.
I remember, you know, all the stuff, and you know.
It's just such a waste. Do you think about it? It's like a movie like Whiplash that just comes out of nowhere, no news about it, and it's amazing. Can blow a movie that has 3 years of hype around it out of the water. It just, that kind of stuff baffles me. You just look back and you're like, that is 3 years of people just making videos, editing, spending a whole night editing, gone. It's just wasted because the movie, it's just.
3 years, you know, that I've been waiting for this movie for a while. At least, you know, Star Wars: The Force Awakens, you know. Was it as good as it could have possibly been? No. But at least it met all of my expectations and was a really, really cool movie. And I had been waiting for it, and I felt like I waited, and it was great. You know what I mean?
No, on that. I actually just got that movie on Blu-ray because Star Wars: The Force Awakens is amazing. Just saying.
So, I mean, yeah.
I mean, you can just tell that what also annoys me, well, it doesn't annoy me, but you can just tell that Warner Brothers isn't even trying to hide the fact that they kind of know that they messed up. Like, they already announced when the DVD is coming out. They already announced that. They already announced when the new R-rated cut is coming out. But I feel like they think that releasing this R-rated cut is going to make everything fine, but it won't.
Well, the R-rated cut isn't the actual movie. That's the problem.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. They think I wouldn't be surprised.
Is that going to be developed in another movie? But we've already seen. I mean, it's just like with these universes, it creates so many problems when you have multiple cuts of your movies.
Yeah,
And it creates continuity problems. I mean, that's what our problem with shared universes. It's just like, I personally, I feel like this sort of filmmaking is destroying cinema. And I would stand and say that I don't think that cinema should be like this.
Well, here's the problem. It's like Marvel.
I think that the more movies get made like this, and the more money these people make, the more movies are going to get made like this, and they're all crap. So, like, you know, at least this portion of Avengers: Age of Ultron that was like this, I absolutely hated, and that was something that a lot of people called out against. So, fact is, these movies, they just kept getting made like this, and they're not movies; they're formulas. These formulas plugged in on the computer, and they get the you know studio execs, and they're all deciding by committee, and they're changing everything, and it's just cramming everything into a movie and setting up all this stuff, and it doesn't work.
You know, they're trying new things, and they like having, you know, experiments in Hollywood. And the thing is, Marvel was the original to do that. And I think we take for granted, since it has happened so much now, and every movie's trying to do it, we take for granted that Marvel's doing a really cool thing here, where they splice all the things. But the thing about DC is they have been able to do this for ages. They have been able to do this ever since, you know, ever since Warner Brothers and DC became a thing. And they're only doing it now because Marvel has been having success. So now they're rushing to it. Like, at least Marvel, like, Civil War apparently is the godfather of superhero movies. I mean, I don't know. I'm excited for that movie. But it's like, they took the time and effort. So I feel like they're allowed. I mean, Age of Ultron, I understand people's criticisms, but that's what Marvel is doing now. It's like they're not meant to. The whole point of those movies are they're meant to be like, you know, almost a TV show at this point. And I know people want standalone movies, and that's what they're trying to do at this point. It's just
Marvel, like, at least Marvel, their movies tell stories. You know, it's fine if they all come together. You know, but the stories need to be well told, and they need to make sense.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Honestly, I feel like if Batman v Superman is a movie that came out when DC was at least 12 movies in, we would be a bit like, okay, that's a bit like an Age of Ultron. But the fact is, this is the beginning of the DC universe, and they've already done.
I think it was just a poorly told story. But the fact is, like, Marvel and DC, like, if you look at the kickstart to their universe, like Iron Man and Man of Steel, Iron Man was a much greater quality than Man of Steel.
Yeah, and it was just.
This is basically Avengers: Age of Ultron. They have jumped from Iron Man to Avengers: Age of Ultron, whereas Marvel had Incredible Hulk, Captain America, Thor, Avengers. And then they went Guardians of the Galaxy, Captain America, Winter Soldier, Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3. Like, there's so much more development to these characters.
Yeah, and also it's just like imagine a movie. Imagine they have Iron Man, right? They have Iron Man. The next movie Marvel makes is called Captain America v Iron Man: Dawn of Avengers. And it's just Iron Man is there. He's a rich guy, and he's just like, "Oh, this Captain America man is he's throwing his shield around. We don't like him." And then it's just they fight, and then you know, for the God of Thunder is sent an email by Iron Man, and it has videos of Hawkeye shooting arrows, the Hulk hulking out, and like Black Widow like killing people, and they're like, "Oh wow, look at this!" And then at the end they all have to fight the Abomination. It's like that movie would make no sense.
Right.
So,
hey, Mom, can I walk up the stairs now?
Not yet.
It's 8 o'clock.
You need to test them.
Okay, well, I need to go up because your battery's at 3%.
Then plug in.
Okay. Okay. Sorry about this.
It's all good.
Yeah, my stairs, they're going crazy.
Okay. But yeah, that's just, you know, that's my rant. Like, there are things that are good. Like, Batman's great. Wonder Woman's great. By the way, have you seen Spy Kids? Have you seen the Spy Kids movies? Well, at least the first one.
Yeah, I've seen Spy Kids and Spy Kids.
Didn't the Wonder Woman theme remind you of the Spy Kids theme?
I haven't seen Spy Kids in so long.
Okay, well, look up Spy Kids theme, and then look up Is She With You, Batman v Superman. They sound so similar. It took me out the movie. I'm like, I mean, overall, the score isn't even that good. The score's just a lot of noises, I thought, but you know.
The score was fine. I didn't have a problem with the score.
Yeah, I kind of liked how they blended.
Good job. I thought the Batman theme wasn't very iconic. It felt kind of. The Superman theme is fantastic.
Yeah, it's great. I listen to the Man of Steel soundtrack every day.
Right, the Man of Steel soundtrack is fantastic.
Yeah, I don't know. This movie's a mess.
No, because I can't plug in the guest room.
Yes, you can.
Oh my. Ugh.
But yeah.
Okay, sorry, Magnus. Hold on.
It's all right.
Moving again. The stupid thing about moving. And don't eat all the brown bread. Do-do-do-do-do.
Are you listening to this?
That kind of does. That kind of the Spy Kids thing.
Listen to this. Listen to this. No, this is the Spy Kids theme right now. This is Spy Kids. Just listen to this.
That actually really does.
No, now this is the Wonder Woman theme in Batman v Superman. Listen to this.
They sound very similar. I'll give you that. They sound similar.
It is the same, but that's the least of this movie's problem. So overall, you'd give it a D plus or C
I'd give it a
minus.
D plus.
Yeah, honestly, I'm C minus. I get honestly, as I told you, I texted you this. This movie, I could easily see myself looking up on YouTube. Oh, Batman fights Superman. Oh, click. Oh, look in the related box. There's it's the scene where Batman is taking out those dudes in the house. Click. Oh, it's that scene where Lex Luthor pees in a jar. Click.
That's that opening scene where they're going around Metropolis.
Like,
that was great.
It has more than a few good moments, and hopefully, in a way, I kind of wanted this movie to fail, just show them, because I knew that they were just shoving it all in, and I'm like, if you're not going to take the time to set it up, it's like then there's no point. And honestly, it would have been better if they just started with a movie called Justice League. If it was just a movie about the Justice League and the movies that came after were all solo movies. But this is like this weird gray area where it's not the Justice League. It was just...
Well, it was barely even Batman v Superman. Yeah. So those are our thoughts on the movie.
Thank you for watching. If you did, probably didn't. And yeah, hopefully DC doesn't fail again. They probably will because they don't know what to do.
Yeah. Cool.